Well, welcome to another edition of the Digicel Sports Show right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Baston, and joining me yet again is Jason Juggling J. Ford. Jay, today's lineup, we have the swearing in of Minister Weeks, the sports minister. We're going to be talking with Cranston Williams, who announced that Deshaun Simons is in Jamaica to do a Red Stripe Premier Jamaica League match. We're also going to talk with the CEO of Amlin and the chairman of the local organizers committee for the upcoming World Triathlon, as well as Jessica Lewis will be taking part in an event this weekend, and then obviously our picks. But we'll get to all of that after this message from our sponsor.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Jay, yesterday at Government House, new sports minister was sworn in the name of Michael Weeks. Let's get the ceremony from Government House.
Please be standing for the Premier of Bermuda, the Honourable David Bush. His Excellency the Governor. Good morning. Please do take a seat. Honourable Premier, Ministers, Members of the House of Assembly, Deputy Cabinet Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to welcome you to Government House this morning for the swearing in and appointment of a new minister. The making of ministerial appointments falls to me as Governor, acting on the advice of the Premier under Section 58 of the Constitution. And the new minister will be asked to make the affirmation of allegiance and the affirmation for due execution of his office as a minister in a moment. But let me first please hand over to Premier Burt to make his announcement of the new minister. Premier.
Good morning, Governor, and good morning, friends and colleagues this morning. As we will understand that there was recently a resignation from the cabinet of former Minister Zane De Silva, as is stated, and he's here today. He continues to support the government in its mission to advance what we were elected to do. But it is my pleasure today to announce a new minister, and that new minister, of course, is no stranger to cabinet and no stranger to the very important Ministry of Social Development and Sports. The new minister, of course, will be MP Michael Weeks, the government whip, and in his role as Social Development and Sports, as he has always said, is the glue that holds the community together. It is a very important ministry, and it is something that for those who know MP Weeks, he has a deep passion for the community. He has a deep passion for sports. As someone who has worked in community service for a very long time, I have every confidence that he will be able to demonstrate the passion for the job, executing on the government's wishes, the very important matters of financial assistance reform, the very important matters of community club regeneration, and the very important matters of making sure that our social fabric and our culture continues to be highlighted. So with that, I extend the congratulations of the government, and I look forward to welcoming Minister to the Cabinet. Sir.
Thank you, Premier. I may now invite Mr. Weeks to come and make the affirmation of allegiance and the affirmation for execution of his office. Sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My affirmation of allegiance. I, Michael Anthony Weeks, do solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law. Affirmation for for the due execution of the office of minister. I, Michael Anthony Weeks, being appointed a minister, do solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will do to the best of my judgment at all times, when so required, freely give my counsel and advice to the governor or any other person for the time being lawfully performing the functions of that office, for the good management of the public affairs of Bermuda. And I do further solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will not on any account, at any time whatsoever, disclose the counsel, advice, opinion, or vote of any particular minister or junior minister, and that I will not, except with the authority of the cabinet and to such extent as may be required for the good management of the affairs of Bermuda, directly or indirectly reveal the business of or proceedings of the cabinet or the nature or contents of any documents communicated to me as a minister or any matter coming to my knowledge in my capacity as such, and that in all things I will be a true and faithful minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And if you can come and join me for signature of the document, have a great Minister, congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you.
And let me invite you, if you wish to say a few words, joined by the Premier first.
You speak first, okay. I made my salutations and good morning earlier. First of all, I want to start off by thanking our God, and I want to thank our Honorable Premier for having faith in me that I can do the job. I'm always mindful that I serve at the pleasure. I serve the cabinet at the pleasure of the Premier. But as I see some of my executive from my constituency, they remind me too that I serve as a member of Parliament at the pleasure of my constituents and Bermuda as a whole, and that will keep me grounded as I endeavor to do the business of our people. I have acknowledged my wife, who's always here, she's my confidant. I acknowledge my mom, my sisters, and my brother. They're always there encouraging me. And I pledge, and everyone else, I hope I don't miss nobody. I love you all for coming, for taking the time, colleagues and friends alike. But as the new Minister of Social Development and Sport, as the Premier said, I come with a list of accomplishments that I've done in that ministry. But as we know, you're not judged on what you've done. So I pledge to work hard. I pledge to be the best that I can be. And I'll tell the people of Bermuda that my decisions as minister may not always be what you want to hear. But trust me, that Michael Weeks would always make a decision that is fair and honest. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. Governor, if there's any members of the media that have any questions, I'll be happy to take them at this time. All right. You may certainly.
Mr. Weeks, this ministry is what we consider the bond that keeps the country going towards and development, social development.
Yes.
How do you being a shadow minister of this ministry prior, now that you're a minister, what is the first order of business to ensure that we can elevate it and make it much stronger than what it was?
Well, I answer this way, Mr. Basin. The Premier in the last throne speech made a commitment for us as a government to address the needs of the community and social clubs and sports clubs, and by extension, the various sports. You know, the former minister, Minister De Silva, was very active in trying to adhere to that directive, and I will do the same. So before I make any kind of decision, I would like to be afforded the opportunity to sit with the PS and other relevant members so I could give you a proper answer in due course.
Through your experience, what do you see from the outside looking in now that you're going to go in the inside? What have you seen?
Oh, what I see a whole lot. I mean, it's endless. The time has long been overdue for us to acknowledge and bring our community and sporting clubs to the 21st century. You know, I have always said that if we get social development and sports right, that is the glue of our community, you know, and that would address a lot of the issues that we have, the antisocial problems that we have. I firmly believe that if we get social development and sports right, we would address a lot of the issues.
And final question from me to the Premier. The attention put on this particular ministry is something that is long overdue. Putting it in Mr. Weeks' hands after the capable hands of Mr. De Silva, how much pressure are you putting on the minister to ensure that the ministry actually gets what, you know, the country goes in the direction you want it to go in?
Here's what I would say, Earl. I would say that I expect that by the end of this parliamentary session, that my entire cabinet will be diamonds, because I place a tremendous amount of pressure on all members of the cabinet. And I place a tremendous amount of pressure on all members of the party in order to deliver on the mandate of which we've been given. It is a very serious business, the governance of this country. And over the past 6 to 7 months, we've realized the challenges of making difficult decisions and making sure that we execute on the agenda which we were given. But we laid out a platform, and we're going to be holding true to our platform. And not only Minister Weeks, but the other 9 members of cabinet and myself are working daily to make sure that we can deliver. So the pressure for him is immense. The pressure for all of his cabinet colleagues is immense. The pressure for our backbenchers are immense, because people expect delivery. They expect results, and they expect us to progress on the issues of which they voted us here for. And so from that perspective, lots of pressure, but I'm certain that all of us are up to the task, and we will do it collectively together, because that's what it is. It's not just one minister, it's us as a team, the cabinet, the backbench, and the community working to make sure we advance the matters of society.
Minister, I would ask you about finances. This is a big ministry. A lot of people that are still suffering and hurting out in the community. And if you go down to the entrance to Global House on the first of the month, you see a lot of seniors coming in. Are you going to be a hands-on minister to communicate with these individuals?
Well, financial assistance is definitely financial assistance reform is definitely a passion of mine. So, like I said, let me get into the office and meet with the PS and the relevant directors to see how far the former minister had progressed. And by all means, that is one of my real aims, to help with financial reform and see how I could best help our country going forward.
Minister Weeks, official. Now, Minister Weeks, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
When you look at sports, what would be considered your first order of business? I know you said inside that you wanted to meet with the PS, meet with the directors and so forth, but what will you be looking for, listening out for, to try and address some of the issues involving sports?
Well, you know, when a lot of times when we talk about assisting the sporting and community clubs, we think the bricks and mortar, you know. But I want to talk to their executives. I want to listen to the concerns of the various sporting bodies and see what we as a government can do if we have not done something in the past. What can we do to enhance the overall product? Because I really and truly believe that sports is a way out for a lot of young men and women. And if we could get them more involved in sports, we would very well see a lot of our antisocial behavior decrease.
Now, you come into this ministry with a wealth of experience in both social development and in sports, being a club member of this Western Star Sports Club and various other organizations. So do you feel you have an upper hand of knowing deep down how things operate at the club level?
Well, most definitely. I have been hands-on. I've rolled up my sleeves and got right down into the nuts and bolts of club life. So I do bring some experience, but always be mindful that it's ever changing. You know what I mean? It's ever changing. The older guys move away, the younger guys have different ideas. So what I need to do is just get in and listen. And not go in with any preconceived ideas.
Over the next few months, we have Bermuda's involved in some significant major events. We have the under-17 women heading off to Nicaragua. We have the cricket team heading to Argentina and then off to Malaysia. We have we'll be hosting the triathlon in April and the Commonwealth Games, all in a short span of time. But as the new minister, what would your message be to those athletes who are preparing to represent our country?
Well, I would advise all the athletes to prepare well. If they're going to be representing our country, do what they have to do so they'll be the best representatives. I would reach out to the sporting bodies to make sure that they have the tools needed in order to represent Bermuda to the best of their ability. But more important, I would like to reach out to the community. Because our community support is what fuels. It fuels the participation and the effort on the field of battle. So our community, I would ask, see them off, see them in training. Call them and tell them, that we support them. Take up a collection for them in church, because we take up a lot of collections in church. But some of them, could be for the students that may go to a particular denomination. So it's a community effort. If we want good results, we want our community behind our athletes.
All right, well, I know you got to get to work, so off you go.
I'm telling you. I'm about to change my shoes into my sneakers. A lot of work to be done.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, Jay, Michael Weeks has a passion in social development and sports, so this kind of fits in with what he's been through most of his adult life.
Yeah, I believe he was even the former president of Town, or he was
an executive member.
He was involved in executive membership. But in saying that, I think it was definitely a good choice with the cabinet by the premier to appoint Minister Weeks. I know that he will give his undivided attention to some of the things that have been worked on throughout the years with the sports ministry. But Earl, it's a bittersweet for me because we don't see no consistency when it comes to the minister of this, something that we're passionate about. There seems to be a merry-go-round. Somebody here for 6 months, then it's a new one. And it's no sooner that a minister gets in, finds out what's the ins and outs, gets their feet wet, as much time for them to pack the bag up and move on to the next ministry, which once again leaves the ministry back in a holding pattern. Just when you might get some type of momentum, I'm thinking you're back to a holding pattern. It's got to be frustrating even for guys like you, because you're going to say, okay, your first, let's give them a couple of months, get his feet wet, let's see what what would be the mandate or what they'll like to see change. And Okay.
out the door.
The next conversation you have with them, they're in another ministry.
That's why I believe in the party should have a idea on where each ministry should go. And the reason why I say that is because if the minister changes, the direction don't change. You just have somebody else
Yeah.
carrying on.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, the thing that, and obviously it's going to come up again with this minister because the question comes up with every sports minister. What is their thoughts on us sports lottery to help finance some of these programs that also are in line with some of the social programs? And by him being the minister in charge of that, that's also going to be very important because sports by history has proven it's kept people away from a lot of these social ills, and it helps out in the front end and the prevention side of people going the wrong direction.
Right.
It takes discipline to do these sports, and it takes time and energy to do them. So more time you're doing that, less time for the idleness. And so it's going to be interesting where the budget is. And I just hope, once again, people don't bring up the $11 million for cricket, $11 million for football. And to this day, those organizations have not received the whole $11 million. And that's probably been over 10 years now.
Yeah, we're going into year number 11.
Yeah, so,
2012.
and they still haven't received it. But I hope people don't use that against what's needed, because when you do have world-class athletes, and we'll be talking about, with triathlon, talking about Florida Duffy, and they got world-class because resources were put behind them. Without the resources, we're not going to be able to get world-class. And it's also been proven, not only the good athletes, most of the time become great citizens. So it's something that I'm hoping, and I've got faith in Minister Weeks. But do I have faith that he'll be the Minister of Sports 364 days from now?
We'll wait and see. Well, Jay, last evening actually, I hosted a Bermuda referees show, which I do weekly. And last night I had the chairman of the referees committee, Cranston Williams, on. And we discussed the fact that Tashawn Simons, who received his FIFA referee badge in December, is now in Jamaica to help officiate 2 matches, one this evening and one on Sunday evening. The one on Sunday evening will be aired on Sportsmax. It's in the afternoon, so you'll be all right. You can stay in bed, and just, remote control. But let's get the interview with Cranston Williams on Tashawn Simons. Welcome to a special edition of the Referees Corner right here on Islandstats.com. Joining me is the chairman of the Bermuda Football Association's referees, Mr. Cranston Williams. But Cranston, I don't know where to start. You're off on a venture with our FIFA flagged referee assistant, Tashawn Simons. Give us an update on what is actually happening with Tashawn at this week and this weekend.
Tashawn has been, I guess you would say, seconded by the Jamaica Football Federation to officiate in 2 Premier League matches, one tomorrow evening and another one on Sunday. Tashawn left the island on Tuesday. I'll be joining him tomorrow. So this is to, I guess, take him out of his comfort zone, as he just made on the list. So he hasn't had an official appointment as yet. Prior to, he's been appointed to the Dallas Cup. So we're trying to get him ready for the Dallas Cup. And a couple of the officials that he'll be working with in Jamaica have also been appointed to the Dallas Cup. So I figured this would be a good starting point for Tashawn. Bermuda is used to doing the games, done all the fun was just about. So we just figured the opportunity arose and we grasped it with both hands.
How did this opportunity come about? Because this don't happen every day.
Well, special thank you to Mr. Victor Stewart, Dave Miku. They have been instrumental in all of this since I attended the referees chairpersons, or I should say head of refereeing seminar in Miami last year in November. We've been communicating, and because they postponed due to funding issues, did not have the introductory course for the new referees and assistant referees for FIFA. We decided, okay, let's try a different route. So initially, it was actually supposed to go in January with a gentleman from Canada, but Tashawn already had prior arrangements, so he was unable to go. So now they said, listen, there's a game he could do on a Thursday as well as a Sunday. We want Tashawn to come. So we just said, it's now or never.
Yeah. Now, where he is at now, like you say, it's out of the comfort zone. He doesn't know anyone. It's going to be different surroundings, different atmosphere. How do you think over the course of the period that he's been working towards this FIFA badge, this fits into that rotation?
Well, I mean, I have to give him his credit. Tashawn and Antoine Omari, they have been training. Even Stefan has joined them as of late. They've been training very hard. Tashawn's rather shy and nonchalant. You know, I asked him, Tashawn, do you need me to come with you? How are you feeling? Since he's been there, settled in. The gentleman that's taking him around, I have not pronounced his name, Oyinka, I think they pronounce it. If I say it wrong, I do apologize. But he's been taking him around, and so far, Tashawn seems comfortable. He posted like he went to the gym, and for me, this is a natural progression for him. I was adamant that he had to go because being in Bermuda, we can get complacent and think that you have arrived. So for me, I much prefer if he were to go and say there are some errors, it makes them now as opposed to being officially under the FIFA spotlight. At least he has something to work with.
How closely will Victor be monitoring these two matches?
I'm pretty sure Victor will be there to assess him as well as Dave and Rohan, because we all meet up once I get there. Dave actually, he's the chairman of refereeing for the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
He's also an assessor. So he will be at the tournament in in Dallas.
Right.
The Dallas Cup. He's one of the appointed assessors. So they have a vested interest in Tashawn.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure Tashawn knows he has to bring his A game.
Right. Now, you mentioned some other names that they've been working hard collectively. How far behind would you say the next crop of possible people looking to get on the FIFA list? Are we looking at a few years? Are we looking at next year? Are we looking at 5 years?
There's one person, I'm sure everyone knows and heard the name, floating around, Mr. Antoine Augustus. He's the next person, ideally, that we would like to send. Mr. Augustus has some work that he needs to do, some things I've identified from the last tournament that was held in Bradenton, Florida. FIFA, the assessors laid out some common grounds and things he has to accomplish. Provided Antoine accomplishes that, he'll be the next one. Now, after Antoine, we have Omari, who's 18, so he has a ways to go. We have Stacey Bibbs, a female potentially. She could possibly, because women, we don't have that many female referees from the Caribbean. So that track might be a little faster, but it also just can require commitment. Stacey has the mental attitude, the mental fortitude. She's fit. It's just a matter of application. There's Mateo. He's also, I think, 18, 19, so he has to wait until he's 23. Omari's in the same boat. But I do know that FIFA does make provisions when they're young to allow them to go and at least experience what it's all about. So that's the hope that that can happen for them.
From this side, being the chairman of the referees, what are you hoping Tashawn accomplishes that you guys could bring back and talk to the other officials here about the experience?
Something for me, it's a first. I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think any official from Bermuda has ever officiated in the Jamaica's leagues. So to me, that's a huge step, number one. Just also to be able to put refereeing to say, hey, look, here's an opportunity, this could be you next. And then it's going to be televised on Sportsmax. So you're looking on TV and say, hey, assistant referee Tashawn Simon from Bermuda. That is huge.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's something for someone to aspire and say, I want to do that in a few years.
When you took over the role of being the chairman of referees, and I believe you took over from Mr. Grimes,
Yes.
this progression has been a real fast pace.
Yes, it is.
Did you think it was going to be as fast as it has been?
Honestly, no, I did not. But the one thing I realized, and I guess maybe it's because I'm a teacher, you can have the best lesson plans teachers say in the world. But on a Monday morning when you get in that classroom, because you have children of all different learning styles, you have to be able to adapt and think on your feet. And that's the one thing I've learned with refereeing is that it's also the way you present it to people. I've been told by the president and other people that, it's refereeing right now is in style. Why? I really don't know. People say you managed to get this person to referee, that person to referee. But for me, it's just an approach and how you sell it or you portray it to people. I'm a firm believer in you have to show people that you appreciate them. That's the one thing. So I think now, the referees get new uniforms, they have bags, but have to put on courses and make sure they're adequately taken care of. And now with Tashawn actually getting on the list and people can see what's available and the possibilities out there for them, I think we should be okay. But I did not think this would happen this quickly at all. And to know that Tashawn actually received his badges on December the 20th, I know that for sure because I left the on the 21st.
Right.
To now say less than 6 weeks later is on a trip, to Jamaica to officiate, I really didn't expect that. I really didn't.
Right. When you look around, your first time you went to even the FIFA Congress, and because you said this was more personal to you than anything else, and you didn't see a Bermuda name on a referee's list for any CONCACAF or CFU or anything of that nature. Now you're able to go in there with your head held high. How does that make you feel going to the next one to say, hey, take us off that list that we don't have?
For me, it's almost like I felt on the day when I received the email, and then when the General Secretary actually showed me Tashawn's badges, I felt like the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. Because, like I said, all I've ever heard is, we don't have anyone on the list. We don't have anyone on the list. And I'm sure the president now, the way it can attest to it, when you go to a Congress or you go to any meetings involving executives from the Caribbean, it was like it was just something you don't do. It was like, why don't you have anyone on the list? You have the manpower, you have the resource, you just don't. But I believe the biggest thing, what we were not doing, is just a mind shift. There's always a negativity about refereeing and the abuse and all that. Yes, that is correct. But I still believe it's just a mind shift to make people understand this is something that you can make a career out of. And so now that people are seeing it that way, I think that's why finally that shift is changing. Right. And also managing to recruit a lot more younger people, that's helping as well.
All right. Well, we look forward to Thursday's game.
Yes.
And then Sunday's match.
Match.
Hopefully we can get an update while you guys are in Jamaica and see how Tashawn's making out, because it's a new beginning.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
Definitely a new beginning.
Well, Mr. Chairman, your work is only begun, because when there's one, there's two.
That's the plan.
Yes. Well, good luck on your and safe journey, and we'll talk to you on your return.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Proof is in the pudding. And I say this, Earl, we have heard many times with the senior referees talking about there's so many opportunities for, once you get on the FIFA list, to go and travel and take your love and passion of the game of football to another level. Well, what they have done with the Referees Association have done with the youngsters, especially with this young particular gentleman, and him obtaining the FIFA badge at his age, traveling to Jamaica to referee a game. It just bodes well for what the initiative was, the whole vision, and now it becomes a reality. So it's even a selling point now for even the Referees Association for telling youngsters or people who's been sitting on the outside, I wish I would could probably, hey, this is what can possibly happen. I also just want to give kudos to the Referees Association, because when you're looking at the young ladies now refereeing the youth games, I believe they're in the academy.
Yeah.
And what that does is not only they have a better knowledge of the game itself, because when they do go and play in the academy, you want to make sure that that's one part of the game that you, as a coach, you don't have to worry about, because they've done it on the side.
Right.
What we call extras. You don't want to take up 2 hours of a training session dealing with rules and stuff like that, where they've already learned.
Right.
So these are things that can always just build well just on the players itself, but we know that the FIFA referees, there's been a shortage around the world, but they are looking to go younger. They're not looking to go wait for players to finish playing their heyday. They're looking for current players and youth players or youth referees for their competitions.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jay, the MS Emlyn World Triathlon Bermuda is drawing near faster and faster. Got a chance to sit down with the CEO of the Bermuda brand from Emlyn and the chairman of the local organization committee right here in Bermuda for the World Triathlon. Let's get that interview. Well, first of all, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me this morning. For Emlyn, who is no stranger to supporting events that take place in Bermuda, why supporting this particular major event in 2018?
To be honest, it came about because Phil very kindly saw us involved with the Rugby Classic, and he came and had a chat with me, and then I took it to the wider team downstairs. And to be honest, it was just so obvious for us to get involved in this. I think just the whole of our office is crazy about sport. Obviously with the Flora Duffy connection, and also we're huge fans of the Brownlees as well. So it was just such an obvious one for us to get involved with.
Yeah. Phil, putting this event together of this magnitude, obviously you're going to have people from the ITU around, but how much undertaking is it for your organization to actually, first of all, pull it off for 3 years and now see it coming? It's a matter of months away.
Yeah, it's like the first year is going to be the most difficult one because we're having really sort of a lot of setup costs, but setup activities as well that we're doing for the first time. We're choosing suppliers from scaffolding to like the ambulances to like the printing, all kinds of things on the island for the first time, and hopefully once that has sort of been established, it'll be like going more smoothly in years 2 and 3 because we then just need to make changes. But the support that I'm getting from people on the island is fantastic, and so it's all on track, I would think.
Now, very interesting, when you came to Bermuda, we actually had a chat about sports. See it coming to where it is today, a major event, does that bring you some satisfaction of this is what you thought could happen in a small country like Bermuda?
Well, the America's Cup has been a huge trailblazer, and when I went to like a whole range of stakeholders, from government to like Bermuda tourism to like the public with this event, the response was overwhelmingly positive because they've already had this experience of going through the America's Cup or feeling that they could do something at this level. So hosting a World Championship triathlon made a lot of sense, and having Flora Duffy as the reigning world champion race on home soil made a ton of sense. So it's been a very positive experience.
For the staff here at Emlyn, how exciting is it for them to have their name behind a significant event?
Hugely. I think we try and do something a little bit different every year as an organisation. So 2 years ago we did a lip sync competition for the family circle. Last year 8 of us actually shaved off our head for some Baldricks and raised over 60,000. So I think again we try and do something every year. So hugely positive for us, and everybody's really excited, and we're going to have a lot of people participating in the actual triathlon and volunteering as well. So yeah.
When you say you took it to the team, did you take it to the team with that glare, that glow, that we can be global in the field of people will recognize us not just for our business but for our sporting contributions?
Yeah, I think so, and I think also it just really fitted in well with the whole MS Emlyn ethos, and also the fact that we're a global company. So just looking at where the other ones would take place as well, and also looking ahead to the fact that the next Olympics is in Tokyo, which is obviously the head office of our parent company, just made sense. So it was very obvious.
Now, is this a 3-year deal or is this a 1-year deal thus far?
Putting me on the spot. At the moment it's a 1-year deal, but we're really hoping to be able to do the full 3 years, and I'm hoping that we can get other parts of the MS Emlyn group involved as well.
Okay. Phil, for your organization, are you hoping to solidify 3-year deals to ensure that things are in place year after year And what are the possibilities of going back to the ITU and saying, especially if this one is very successful, that we want to continue going on?
Yeah, so the whole project is at this point a 3-year project. It's no secret that we originally bid for the grand final, which is the last race in the season. And we're going back to the table to bid for the grand final again in, later this year. So we will hopefully be granted the grand final at some point, and then we will hopefully have a very clear road beyond 2020 as well. So I think it's a longer term project. How long it can run, I think, depends on very much how much is being taken on by the locals, but also particularly international visitors, because they invest in the economy, and the more people come to the event, the more they feel welcome here on the island, the more this event will become a success.
No, there's no secret. Courses change, and the whole diagram of how it wants to lay out has changed. But are you happy with what the final result of this, the track will be?
Yeah, at this point, it's all theory, so we have no idea how it's actually going to play out on the day. But the course is fantastic. It receives very, very positive feedback from the elite athletes as well as the amateur athletes and the national federations around the world, the British, the American Federation, and so on. It's a spectacular course in that it has elements like Corkscrew Hill, which are very, very challenging but also iconic. And at the same time, it is very central. It is in town where all the people are going to be anyway, because they're going about their business and shopping. And that will hopefully contribute to an atmosphere that will just be like unheard of in triathlon. So I'm very pleased with how we've designed it. And now it's really up to the Bermudians to show up on the day, 28th of April, come to town and be there.
Now, you mentioned the famous name, Brownlee Brothers, but obviously here on home soil, Bermuda will be rooting for Florida, Tyler Smith, Erica Hawley if they make it. But the fact that if those two actually make an appearance in Bermuda is huge for the sport.
Absolutely massive, I think. I just think with all the connections Bermuda back to the UK, I think. And we've all watched them, and we've seen them in the press, and we saw how they helped each other in one of the past races. So I think that would be massive if they come, and I think it'll certainly from our office, it'll be a huge following of them when they're out here.
Yeah. Where are we now as far as leading to the triathlon? How far along are we?
So we're T minus, 80 days or something like that. So we are pretty far along. We've committed to many of the expenses around the event, for example. So, for example, barriers are being shipped in because the island doesn't have enough barriers, and we need to barrier the course. We're designing branding items, so we've just relaunched the logo with MS Emlyn included in the actual event logo. We're designing sponsorship branding, so an arch with MS Emlyn on all these kind of items are well in motion. We're recruiting volunteers very actively right now across anyone who really wants to participate on the island. So it's in full motion at this point.
Well, we'll get back with you guys closer to the event, and we start hearing the names of the athletes who are actually signing up to come, because I think that will be the exciting draw for a lot of people to come out and watch. Those who will take part, obviously, in the Commonwealth Games early in the month, and then make their way to Bermuda. So it'll be a very interesting time, especially if those names are on the ticket. I think it'll be an easy convince to pack the BA flight with a bunch of English folks to come over to Bermuda, enjoy some of our hospitality for the event. So thank you very much.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, The fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Just a couple of months away, so when you start hearing the money talk, everything comes from money.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And we just talked about it. When you have a great vision and it's supported,
Mm-hmm.
then it comes to reality. And that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah. Well, the reality is this coming weekend, Paralympian Jessica Lewis and her new coach, Curtis Tom, who's the son of Ken Tom, her former coach, who passed away last year.
Mm-hmm.
They will be on island, a meet and greet at the Washington Mall on Saturday. And then on Sunday, they'll be taking part in what is called the Paddle for Paralympics. There will be cyclists riding from Dockyard to Ferry Reach. And Curtis, as well as Jessica, will join in with the riders from the Causeway to Ferry Reach. Something special.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, when you get to be a part of something special, I think it even means more. It's creating memories.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the things that, you want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Whether what organization it is, but when you're doing something for a great cause, man,
Makes you feel good.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jay, now it's time for those picks.
Yes.
63-63.
Yeah, you should be addressing
63-63.
You should be addressing me as champion.
Okay, champion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
First matchup, Saturday, 3 p.m., Devonshire Recreation Club. Devonshire Cougars will host the Boulevard Blazers. Neighborhood battle. But I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Home team,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah. Blazers. Ooh, you took 7 last week from Crossroads. I am definitely not. You gotta show me something.
Both of us would take Devonshire
From
Cougars.
Crossroads?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no diss to Crossroads, but 7? You gotta show me something.
Okay. Well, all eyes will be on the match later on in the evening, 9 p.m. at BAA Field, because this match here can have a change in the top if things go one team's way of the league by weekend, and that's Robin Hood hosting PHC. Something we've talked about. We know PHC is on a 2-game losing streak, but as we all know, well, I'm thinking they'll come out of the slump.
Yeah, it's. I tell you, you just talked about it. If Robin Hood wins, they can go to the top. If they lose, they could probably drop a few places.
Down to 5th.
Exactly. PAC, you mentioned, PAC hadn't been playing bad. It's just they're just missing opportunities. And as a coach, you're still happy that you're creating chances. So it's not when you don't create the chances.
Yeah.
So, some games you can strike the post, you can be 5 block shots. Keeper has a game of his life.
Yes.
Anything is possible. But I think the biggest factor, which has been the factor with Robin Hood all year long, is their depth. One thing, just name it. What do older players hate?
Chasing.
And PAC has
Speed and stallions that run all the time.
now. Robin Hood don't only have older players; they have no bench.
Yeah, well,
Okay, they've got a physical bench that the one person can't sit at the end because they'll
topple over.
topple over. So you don't even have the advantage to say, hey, I know you're low season, as you would like to say. Just give me 65 minutes or give me 70 minutes. And then, we bring on somebody who's probably seasoned too. He could only give us 25 to 30. They don't have that opportunity. And unfortunately, PAC does with more speed.
Yeah.
So when one stallion starts to limp,
They oil up another one.
You gotta, it's like ordering, something that takeout.
Take a shotgun to battle.
Man, so I expect Antoine Russell to score because that's his family, playing against his family. I also probably even expect Shakir Smith to have some type of a decent game.
But will it be enough?
I just don't think their back line and Timmy is going to hold out.
The ageless wonder.
I'm just going to say it, Timmy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if these guys are coming at you. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the Zebras.
So we're both taking the Zebras.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, which is going to be Sunday, 3 p.m., and this one here, because these two teams will know what those two teams above them, immediately above them, have done the night before. And that's North Village are entertaining the Dandytown Hornets. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm going to take Dandytown only because I feel they are on a more consistent path, even coming into the Christmas break and then after the Christmas break. They've had two big wins when you beat PHC, and then you kind of put the licking on Somerset. They will be more than confident going into this match.
I will agree with you, but also add to the fact that what was Village's ammunition last week? Recalling on.
Yeah. Keith, Devray, boy.
What's the recovery time?
Well, it was funny because I did have a talk with Jamiko Jennings last night.
There we go.
And he said, you know what? I was thinking about coming out before Keith came out. I went to a training session. And that looked painful.
Yeah, look, not the rid of his.
No way. So I said to him, what, is Keith still in bed? He says, probably.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's the.
When you stop for a while, your body can't absorb that type of pressure you've put it under before. As an amateur, now, as a professional, you can switch on, switch off because your body's used to that. But as an amateur, it's very difficult. Very, very difficult.
And it's not like you're playing a lower team.
Right.
You're playing a team that's very confident and has a bunch of youngsters too.
Yeah.
So, and also the front line is very formidable. So it's going to be interesting, but I will take time.
That's both of us taking time. Next match. Social Club are entertaining Crossroads. No doubt, Crossroads.
Yep, Crossroads, but Clay after school.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been my whole year.
At least it's consistent.
And for most time, he scores.
Yeah.
Just loses.
Final game in the Premier Division, Flanagan's Onions taking on Somerset Trojans. I'm taking Flanagan's.
And you're probably going to take Flanagan's based off the same information you gave me last week about being the physical
yeah.
team. I'm going to go with the youth again. I'm going to go with the Trojans, and I really don't have any reasons why. I'm really trying to make a case for him.
We'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there.
I tried, but
Yeah,
I just taking Trojans.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
I know a couple of guys on Trojans' team. That's it.
Okay. All right.
I don't know hardly anybody on Flanagan's.
Okay. No problem. We're going to turn to the first division.
Yep.
Wolves are at home to St. David's.
Wolves just finished taking what?
11.
You know I ain't got no faith in you.
You don't have faith in Social Club or Boulevard? Yeah, we're both taking St. David's.
Yeah, I don't care who St. David's put up. 11?
Yeah. And Devonshire Colts are at home to Island Rangers.
This game is going to be interesting because I think it's going to be closer than many people would think.
I think Devonshire Colts will edge it out.
I think they'll edge them out, but I don't think it's going to be
a blowout. Then we look at the match that a lot of people have been waiting for. That's a top of the table clash. Paget Lions are at home to BAA.
Yeah, this is something that started the season we would have never thought.
No.
And also Paget, I mentioned in the last show that they probably have one of the easier run-ins to the end of the season. Mind you, they're going to lose the services of Dion Stubble, but it won't be until after
this match.
Yeah. And to state my case a little bit firmer, Paget beat him.
Yeah.
At BA.
At BA. Shot him out.
So, I'm expecting.
Paget? I knew you was going to take the boys from Madrid.
Of course.
So am I. Yeah. Be wise not to.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah. Then you got this one here, Somerset Eagles taking on Southampton Rangers at Whitehill, which Somerset Eagles will want to be considered a spoiler.
Yeah, and they had the opportunity to be a spoiler to even.
But not this game,
But it won't be this game. No, we're still talking about the only undefeated. Now they're the only undefeated
team in both leagues.
Both leagues. Yeah. And I don't see that changing.
Well, there you go. Final matchup.
I know who you got.
St. George's Coats are at home to
Doesn't matter.
Hamilton Parish.
It didn't even matter. It didn't even matter.
You taking Parish?
St. George's Coats going to play Chelsea. You still took St. George's Coats.
Nah, not necessarily. I'm going against St. George's this year.
I need to see that team.
You even said, let's make sure this is documented in the Hill 9 yards.
No, you just picked them as a draw. You didn't pick them to lose.
Yes, I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, you go back and check that tape.
I guess they'll
I was
doctor that one too.
just surprised that you even said a draw. That was.
This won't be a draw.
This won't be a draw.
No.
And this won't be a draw. But I will give kudos to Hamilton Parish because I thought they might even have packed it in already. And they have come to compete last couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting. And to be honest with you, that's what I'm going back to the Boulevard game. I'm just hoping, because realistically, Boulevard against Cougars, and we're talking about the first game there, Boulevard players really don't have anything to play for as far as winning anything. They're probably pretty much well safe with Flanagan's. A social club has to do something great,
right,
to probably stay up. So it'd be interesting to see teams like Parish and teams like Boulevard. We probably almost know now that training sessions are just a phrase,
right.
Or if it is, it's very minimal. But it's gonna be interesting. And also, now just to top it off, and this thing, will Social Club, and that's a question I'm gonna probably have to ask you, will Social Club win a game this year? We talked about undefeated team, the Rangers. Will Social Club?
It looks highly unlikely. But I'll tell you what, the league at the bottom will get really, really interesting if that final game in the Premier Division ends up going to Flanagan's against the Trojans, because they would have closed the gap.
Yeah, but the gap will be Flanagan's, Trojans, Crossroads.
Yeah, but Flanagan's only need to catch one team. And by beating that particular team, puts added pressure on that particular team.
You know what? This might be a bigger game for Somerset than we.
Yeah, they have to win it. If they want to stay up, not mathematically, but if they want to stay up, they need to win it.
This is something you need to come at least with a draw.
Yeah, at least.
At least with a draw.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's probably might be the safest pick, and none of us has picked a draw.
No. Because realistically, Flanagan's have to go all out to win it. A draw for them is almost a defeat.
Yep.
Yeah. So they need.
Flanagan's needs to be somebody who's
they
closer
need
to them.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, folks, we're going to end tonight's show with Patrick Singleton, a three-time Bermuda Winter Olympian, carrying the torch in Pyeongchang yesterday in the lead up to the opening ceremony, which will take place tomorrow night for the Winter Olympic Games that we have Tucker Murphy taking part. So we end tonight with Patrick Singleton carrying the Olympic torch. Have a good night.